What is up, Terp fans? Welcome into the Shell Shock Experience. I'm Matt Moderno. I'm joined here today by not currently a Terp legend, but soon to be, if he can win us a TBT championship, Shell Shock GM, Ricky Goings. Ricky, thank you for coming on here, man.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And thank you for the opportunity for me to host this for you guys.
No, we appreciate you. We appreciate you agreeing to do this, man, and what you bring to our team. We definitely need you to be a part of it and appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thanks. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love TBT, love the Terps, obviously. So it's a great marriage of the two things. And we'll get into everything we're going to do here with the program. But also, just to start us off, we're brought to you by Vision Media Solutions. They're the top media management company in the DMV. So see them for all of your web design, videography needs, all those things and more. They do an awesome job, and they can hook you up and help you out. So check them out. And the link to their website is in the episode description here. So as you're listening to this, you can find a way to get in touch with them. Ricky, just first and foremost, man, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you came to be the GM of Shell Shock.
Man, I'm a Maryland lifelong fan. Grew up around a lot of the players, whether it's Steve Francis, Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter, to some of the younger guys, the Deion Wileys, some of those guys. I found my niche from being in the DMV, whether it was working with young people, getting them into college, hosting combines and things like that. I found the niche in alumni basketball. I started my own alumni league about 7 years ago, which ran for 3 years, featured a lot of ex-NBA guys. In 2018, we actually did a Maryland Terp alumni team, which had Dave Neal and Travis Garrison, Andre Collins, John Gilchrist, Byron Mouton.
Byron, man, is still going. I love that.
He is. Good.
Credit to him.
Great guy. So then we ended up, I ended up linking up with Maryland because they when the NIL stuff started happening, Bruce Shingler, who's the coach at the time, reached out to me and said, man, you would be really good with working with NIL. So I worked with the collective early on. Harry Geller, who was the president of it, consulted with him multiple years, working with the coaching staff to get deals done. So then I moved on to I ended up mentoring some of their players. Jonathan Lamoth, had a good relationship with Jamie Kaiser, Fats Russell, who was here. I built a relationship with those guys. Mm-hmm. And again, I had a relationship with the alumni from my childhood to, working through the business. And then Nima approached me. He felt with my connections and my work ethic, I could help the Shell Shock brand. And just before I forget, I was running the Alumni Basketball League with Kareem Rush, which the College Park Boys, which featured a lot of the TBT Shell Shock guys, played. I worked with them there. And then that league kind of is on pause right now. Sure. So Nima brought me over to Shell Shock, and it was an honor to be asked to do this project.
It's a seamless fit, and just from the convos we've had already, you got great ideas for the team here, and I think Maryland fans, this is just something you kind of need. Like Maryland basketball right now, there's this maybe not the same vibes we've had the past couple of years here. So I think tying back to the nostalgia feeling a little bit more is a great way to do this, and I think it'll help the current program a lot here too. So this is a great thing. I hope Maryland basketball itself gets involved and excited, and I know you guys are having some convos with them about certain things. So if there's a way for them to kind of be involved in the process here, I think it's only to the benefit of Kevin Willard and the rest of the program.
Yeah, and I think one thing about Kevin with Coach Willard is he wants to win, and he knows to win. The entire program and alumni have to be behind you, whether it's on the court and off the court. So I think with the new direction he's taking the program, with the staff he brought on, Coach Cox, Coach Manning, Coach Norris, they're all bought into what we're trying to do here with Shell Shock, and we're excited for what it's going to look like.
Talked about this a little bit in episode 1 with Dave Neal, but like Duke has the Brotherhood program, and not to mention the dirty 4-letter word that is Duke, but you haven't had that the same way with the Maryland program. Like they're just guys don't come back the same, kind of way in the summer. They move on to other things. And I think this is a way to do that. Reestablish those connections, bring in Gary guys, bring in Turgeon guys, and make them all sort of Maryland guys again. And that's great. And I don't know. I'm just always impressed watching your social media accounts because every week it seems like there's a different Terp legend coming through. It's you and Steve Francis, you and Lonnie Baxter. Just having these guys involved is cool.
No. Yeah, I mean, they want to be. It's sometimes just providing an outlet. I have a good relationship with Joe Smith, so he came back for the first time in years, like maybe a year or two ago. It's making these guys feel like they belong, and it's not necessarily fair to the newer coaches to say they haven't done that. There's a lot of alumni. There's a lot of layers to it, and it takes a coordinated effort to do that. And when you first get in, you're trying to win games or save your job or meet the fans' expectations. You got to prioritize, and that's where guys like me come in, because I can kind of, due to my relationships with some of the alumni and the current team, I try to bridge some of those gaps.
Yeah, that's huge for them. Like you said, basketball is a 12-month-a-year job for these guys with portal and NIL. Like they don't have time to be, organizing alumni dinners and stuff like that. But it is important to have that like kind of common through line, to every generation of guy. So I think this is a great way to do that. And whether it's guys that play, like, I think Dave Neal said like his playing days are behind him, but he'd like to be supportive and in the way, engaged if he can in some way.
He can still play a little bit now.
I bet he can, but he's got to take it easy on those knees and stuff too. But I think a lot of guys that may not actively want to play, could still kind of get behind a program like this too. And even if it's just, coming on and helping hype the program up with us on the pod here, like I think that's still a great contribution. Definitely.
And the more we bring awareness to what we're doing, and that's why I give Nima a lot of credit. Nima has like a database of alumni. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of connections on the alumni side. So his ability to just be able to reach out to alumni is a key to what we're doing.
Yeah, it's huge. So the shout out, that's Shell Shock coach Nima Midovar for everybody not familiar. I think Nima's kind of the brains behind a lot of this stuff too. You and he kind of working this thing together. So I think Maryland fans should be excited next summer. And with it on Fox now, it feels like they care a little bit more about the overall, tournament than maybe ESPN did at the tail end there. So I think this is an event we're going to see kind of grow in stature instead of going.
Yeah, I think COVID was a big part of it.
Yeah,
being able to have that TV time by itself. And some great games. I mean, that year they had Joe Johnson playing, and Mo Cree kicked that famous shot. There you got almost the whole model was alumni, and it's so intense. They found their niche in realizing that this country is hungry for basketball outside of the NBA and the NCAA. Yep. The problem is it's been finding what lane is there for it, and TBT has found the lane, and I think it's going to continue to grow. They're very open to ideas and hearing from people like myself and Nima, and that's why I think it's going to be very successful.
Yeah, and just like you said, the more alumni teams, the better. Like it's just easier for somebody to get behind that, and I think the cities they pick are going to start to be more interesting to people and an opportunity to get some of these old rivalries rekindled and stuff like that. So it's going to be super cool. What's your goal for the team? Like, what are you trying to build in year one? Is it championship right out of the gate, or?
So, I mean, it's championship out the gate no matter what. But right now, in all my projects, my priority has always been legitimacy from day one.
Okay.
And so to be legitimate, you need legitimate players. So my goal is to kind of recapture what this team had in 2016. I want Melo Trimble. I want Rasheed Suleiman. I want Jake Layman. At least be able to talk to those guys about what we can do with this roster if those guys play, because that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
And you build. You fit pieces in. Guys get older every year, but guys become alumni every year. And you find the pieces. And that's the goal for this year, to put a Maryland-based product on the floor that alumni financially will get behind.
And that makes a lot of sense. And I think that is an era of Terps basketball too. Like that team had a lot of interest from fans. And I think it's far enough away that people look at it like super fondly and want to see those guys kind of get the band back together here a little bit too, but they can all still hoop, which is kind of the sweet spot of this, right? Like they're far enough removed that you want to see them all back together in a Terps uniform, but they can still bring it out on the court. So I think that's pretty cool to think about. Just especially with like the changing landscape of college basketball and guys not wearing the same jersey for 4 years very often. I think one thing that gets lost for players is sort of that, like, that relationship with a program or school and kind of who they call home. And this alumni team is a way to do that. You may have only been a 1-year Terp like a Fats Russell, but you come back and you start playing Shell Shock every year or something like that. It's a way to kind of reestablish yourself, I think, with the fan base as a Terp and build those other relationships and connections. So I think it's really good from the player perspective here too.
Yeah, and that's why one thing we're trying to do, and I'm getting off the ground, is the Alumni Coalition, where we're pretty much working on getting deals for alumni as they partner with the TBT team. It's taking some work to get off the ground, but the purpose is to give them some vested interest and also to say, hey, like, let's give you a chance to make up some things you lost that weren't available to you when you were playing. And I think the more alumni feel connected to the program, like it just becomes easy to maneuver the way we need to maneuver.
I think everybody wants to just feel like they have like ownership in the process here too. And as Maryland fans, like contributing things like NIL, it gives you some stake in the game here, I think, but you can also do that with TBT. Like it's a way to be connected and involved with the Maryland program. So as fans and alumni, like this is an opportunity to kind of, put some skin in the game here, I think. And that's a pretty cool feeling.
It is.
You mentioned, the types of players you want to get here, but is there, I guess when you look at a lot of these alumni teams, it's hard to get, here are 12 former Terps on one roster and get everybody at the right time. So any thought in some of the other maybe complementary pieces that you guys?
We're always looking at that, because you definitely, just because you went to Maryland don't mean you fit on the 12-man roster. But at the same time, this team, you have to raise a significant amount of finances to compete.
Sure. And
I think with to do that, alumni want to see alumni. And so,
exactly.
Definitely we get to the, 9th, 10th man, you definitely want to see, Maryland, for example, Maryland has never really had great centers, recently that would play TBT. So, besides maybe DeMonte, so we might got to find somebody that can complement him. Most of Maryland's good shooters are in the NBA or playing high ball overseas. So we got to find complements there. But as long as we have a core Maryland, team on the floor that we're marketing, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I'm glad you said that too. For fans, like the expectation is a Terp alumni team, but you also have to build a basketball team at the same time here too, and find pieces that all fit together. So it's a tough thing to juggle. And I know you and Nima are working on it already, which is cool to hear.
Yep.
Any favorite Terps of yours that you think would be like dream guests for the podcast here, or guys you'd want to hear from and get their perspective on?
Well, I think we got to get Lonnie Baxter here, and
that's a great one.
Juan Dixon, love to hear from him. Steve Francis, and more recent. I got to get Donald Curry on here to talk about the TBT experience. And I think he'll be good. But it's so many, man. Like, it's hard to really say, because I feel like all these Terps legends, made a big impact on basketball. I mean, definitely, I talked to Joe Smith. He needs to come on here.
Joe would be great.
The guys at that level.
I like where your head's at. I got Gravis Vasquez on the brain here, too. So, Gravis, if you're listening to this,
I talked to him recently, so we definitely got to get him on.
Yeah, now that he's back in the area doing some Wizard stuff too, I think the timing is right here to pull this kind of thing off. So if you're a Maryland fan and you're listening to this and you're loving the idea and you want to get involved, what's the best way to go about doing that?
We have our website, shellshocktbt.com. Reach out to us on Instagram, shellshocktbt. We have a GoFundMe set up on the website so we can raise money. So just any type of way, you can DM me directly at DC Rick. Nima as well, but it's really easy to get a hold of us. We're trying to win. We want to do this for the area, for the school. So all support and connections help.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the pitch to fans here is like, this is an opportunity to do something really cool. And Maryland basketball, like, I think the reputation nationally is maybe not where we as fans want it to be. So this is an opportunity to like reclaim a little glory here for ourselves. And I think it's really cool that you guys are kicking this back off, the way you are here too. And if folks want to put money into this, I guess, like maybe they don't understand like what the costs are associated with TBT. So
TBT, you have to raise money to be in the tournament. A budget, and you want to make sure you take care of your key players. So, My goal is to raise $50,000 for this.
That's great.
And I think 50 grand will pay for our travel, pay for our food, and pay for some of our key players to be able to do what they need to do to get here and play as well. So that's the goal.
And I think, most people think the basketball season is over the winter, but a lot of these guys that are playing overseas, there are opportunities for them to play and make money during the summers in certain countries too. So
so
to that point, like
they have to make.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta make it worth it, and you gotta be a legitimate operation, like you said, and that's a way to do that. And get a training camp together, like all these kinds of things. They take time, they take money to do this right. And if you're gonna do it, gotta do it right and try to win this thing too. So just I don't know, what do you want us to get out of this podcast from your perspective?
I mean, I think that it's important that we hear from the Terps, the ex-Terps, the current Terps, if we can get some of them on, just so people can see that they have stories to tell, they have things they want to talk about, and just to show people like that people don't finish college basketball and go in hiding. Right. Sometimes they have a lot of good things going on, and they want to connect with you all as much as you all might want to connect with them.
Mm-hmm. No, that's honestly like a perfect answer, I think, too. And that's the main thing I've heard from a lot of guys I've talked to is just like, it'd be cool to kind of re-engage with the fan base and reestablish some of that connection that you had when, it's one thing if you're on campus and you're hearing it every day, but a lot of these guys, especially when they move out of the area too, they don't have that kind of same level of connection. They can't get back into the building for games as often. And especially for the guys that are playing overseas, it's a long kind of tough year for a lot of these guys in smaller countries. And I think a lot of them sometimes feel forgotten about too. So this is an opportunity to kind of, dust off the memories here a little bit and get them re-engaged. I guess, Ricky, that's kind of like the main thing I just wanted to talk through with you here a little bit of just like what we're trying to do and with the podcast and what you guys are trying to do with the team here overall. Any other message that you want to leave, with fans or
just that we need your support. We're looking to build something. We appreciate those that have supported, and any connections and any resources you can give to this, please give. So that we can be successful and build something, entertaining for the next several years.
I think even with the pod here too, like we can kind of help build that connection back. We're talking about a little bit here too. And it's something for people to go back to and look at and check out. And a lot of these, interviews are evergreen content. So if you're listening to this episode and you haven't checked all the previous ones out, they don't expire. So go back and do that when you're listening to this.
And we're always looking for sponsors to partner with us on this podcast as well. So that's another way you can help us as well.
Yeah, that's great. Get your name of your company, your product out there, or just, hey, if you personally as an individual want to sponsor an episode or something like that, like hit us up. We can make that work. You guys, if you're listening to this, you can probably find me anywhere on social media here too. So I'll put you through to the main guys here. Yeah. Ricky, just I guess kind of last thing to leave us with here. If folks are wanting to go see a TBT game, essentially, like, do you guys have any insight into where you get to play?
Not yet, unfortunately. Maybe closer to the new year. They're still figuring out the markets. Typically, we're somewhere between the East Coast and the Midwest. Mm-hmm. But we'll definitely keep you posted on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I think that'll be good information for people. So keep staying tuned into the pod. And as there are updates that trickle out or player reveals, we can use the podcast as a way to do some of those kind of things.
Definitely will do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know, maybe if we can get a Terp contingent together in whatever city they're playing in, or you guys are going to have the team actually playing, maybe we do a little, get together kind of thing. And the Inside Maryland Sports guys like Jeff Erdman are going to be involved here in helping us plug this thing. So maybe we can figure out an alumni event with those guys as well here too.
Definitely will.
Cool. Ricky, thank you for doing this, man. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you hosting. And I think this podcast is going to grow, and we're going to get bigger guests, and it's going to be a hit.
I love that. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, everybody, click that like button for us. That's always appreciated. And the most important button you can click on the entire thing is the share button. Tell a friend. Help us grow this. I think the more we help, spread the word about what we're doing here with the podcast, we can also kind of grow this and get better and bigger guests. The more established it is, the easier it is to get people to donate their time and talk about Terps hoops. And whatever kind of content you want to hear about, hit me up. I will make sure we ask the questions you want to know from certain players, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Ricky, thanks again. Appreciate you. Good luck with all this team building, and we'll be sure to keep in touch a lot here along the way.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Again, brought to you by Vision Media Solutions. Go check them out. The website is down in the episode description. You know where to find it. Hit the subscribe button for us. Tell a friend, and fear the turtle.